Jesus seemed to whisper, I love you.
Mama Cass Elliot was one of the most beloved and iconic music stars of the 1960s, known for her powerful voice and vivacious stage presence as part of the iconic folk rock group the Mamas and the Papas. Join Facts First as we unravel the tragic details of Mama Cass Elliot's death. Her rise to fame. Born Ellen Naomi Cohen in 1941 in Baltimore, Maryland, Cass was raised by musically inclined parents who exposed her to opera and piano from a young age. Her childhood home was often filled with music, foreshadowing her future path. According to the 1950 census, her parents even worked at an ice cream fountain, an environment that Cass later cited as a factor in her early weight gain that she struggled with throughout life. In high school, she sang in choir and acted in musicals, demonstrating her performing talents. She attended American University in Washington, D.C., intending to be an actress, but after losing coveted roles to rising stars like Barbra Streisand, she pivoted to focus entirely on singing. Cass began performing with local D.C. folk bands and coffee shops, honing her booming vocals and charismatic presence. In 1963, she headed to New York City, where her voice became a staple of the emerging bohemian music scene. She landed roles in off-Broadway musicals like The Shoestring Revue, garnering glowing reviews. During this time, she crossed paths with the Mugwumps band, where she met musician Denny Doherty. Doherty was striking out to form a new folk band with John and Michelle Phillips, and Cass desperately wanted in. But the trio was hesitant to allow her into their perfectly harmonizing mix. Undeterred, Cass followed them to auditions and rehearsals, refusing to give up. Finally, in 1964, the group took their first LSD trip together, which opened their minds and voices to new creative heights. They realized Cass's voice was too powerful to deny, and she completed their signature 4-part harmonies. Christened the Mamas and the Papas in 1965, their first single, California Dreamin', was an instant classic. Cass's soulful intro immediately sticks in the listener's mind. The group's iconic, free-spirited style perfectly encapsulated the 1960s counterculture movement. Hits like Monday Monday and albums like If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears shot up the charts as they reached global stardom. During their meteoric rise, Cass became infatuated with Doherty, but he didn't reciprocate, instead beginning a torrid affair with Michelle Phillips behind Cass's back. Cass was heartbroken when she discovered Michelle's betrayal, tearfully asking her why she had stolen the one man Cass truly loved when she could have had her pick of any other. But she managed to forgive them all for the turbulence it caused within the group. For a few short years, their tight harmonies and soaring success lifted them above the often messy personal lives and clashing personalities beneath the surface. Solo career struggles. Embarking on a solo career after the Mamas and the Papas split proved challenging for Elliot. She finished recording her debut solo album, Dream a Little Dream of Me, in 1968, which contained her first solo hit, Dream a Little Dream of Me. Buoyed by its success, she embarked on a high-profile Las Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace in 1969. But the Vegas shows quickly turned into disaster. Elliot had insisted on bringing her young daughter Owen along, dividing her time between rehearsals and caring for her child. Exhausted on opening night and suffering from a fever and throat issues, Elliot's voice cracked repeatedly during her abbreviated show. She canceled the remainder of her 2-week engagement after just one night, citing the need for throat surgery. Chastened by the Vegas failure, Elliot retreated from live performances for a while. She focused on talk shows and variety show appearances, landing a regular role on The Andy Williams Show in 1969. She also pursued acting, nabbing a role on the hit show The Virginian in 1970. But despite minor success, she struggled to gain respect as a solo artist in her own right, separate from her image as Mama Cass with the Mamas and the Papas. In 1969, she told Good Housekeeping magazine she had once embarked on a dangerous crash diet of fasting for days on end that resulted in health issues costing her thousands in lost earnings. Controversy also plagued her personal life. When the Manson family murders stunned Hollywood in '69, Elliot's loose association with cult leader Charles Manson at 1960s Hollywood parties led to false speculation about her involvement. Ex-bandmate John Phillip fueled the rumors by claiming Elliot was to blame for introducing Manson into their social circles. Her triumphant final shows. After years of struggling to reinvent herself, she finally felt she had reached a career high in July of 1974 during a 2-week residency at the prestigious London Palladium. Fresh off a grueling diet where she lost more than 100 pounds, she took the stage with a renewed sense of pride and purpose. According to those who saw the shows, Cass was more lively and energetic than she'd been in years. Her setlist interwove nostalgic mamas and papas hits with her solo work, showing off her impressive vocal range and stage presence. She shed the Mama Cass nickname, introducing herself simply as Cass Elliot. She radiated joy during the final July 27th performance, holding the last note of the set an extra few seconds as the audience rose to their feet for thunderous applause. Afterwards, she called Michelle Phillips, crying tears of joy that she had finally shaken her old image and had been accepted by audiences as a solo artist in her own right. The sudden death of Mama Cass. On the morning of July 29, 1974, her personal secretary, Dot McLeod, went to check on her in the London apartment she was renting from singer Harry Nilsson. Found dead in bed at age 32, initial speculation swirled that Elliot had choked on a ham sandwich found nearby, but coroner Keith Simpson definitively ruled out food asphyxiation after conducting a meticulous autopsy. Toxicology tests also showed no traces of alcohol or drugs in her system. Simpson concluded her cause of death was a heart attack brought on by her long struggle with obesity. Years of extreme crash dieting and fasting had likely strained her heart to the breaking point. In the days leading to her shocking death, all evidence pointed to Elliot being in excellent spirits. She had just completed a hugely successful 2-week run at the Palladium, finally feeling fulfilled. Still flying high from her triumph, she attended a celebratory dinner at Mick Jagger's house the next evening, July 28th. Always the professional, she declined alcohol to rest her voice. Afterwards, she returned early to the London apartment lent to her by Harry Nilsson, brimming with optimism. She chatted into the night with her secretary, Dot, reliving moments from the Palladium residency and mapping out ambitious plans for the future now that she had reinvented herself as a solo act. McLeod later recounted how Cass seemed hopeful and motivated before finally retiring to bed. It was the happiest she had seen Cass in years. Sometime during that night, the music world lost Cass Elliot at just 32. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Cass Elliot? Let us know in the comments section below.